Hi, my name is Medge and welcome to my very tiny food forest. It's tiny but it's home to a lot of birds and other creatures. The bird that built this nest though realized that it's not a very wise choice to lay eggs in, as it's very accessible to people who from time to time would pick fruits from this tree. There's more than enough fruits to share with family and friends. Since it's very small, the plants are all over the place and the food forest is kinda wild, as it should be because it mimics the forest but with edibles. When I have friends once in a while to pick fruits and things, plants are sometimes accidentally trampled on, so I figure that I need to build a pathway across it. I've already worked with a few home improvement projects with the person who did the pathway, so he knows exactly what I want, and knowing me, he'll already look for leftover materials from building sites across the neighborhood. Some we bought, like these concrete nails and sand and cement, but the pegs and the plywood used to make the frame for the pathway were free of charge. We use concrete because it's cheap and easy to work with, and when the edible ferns and insulin plants along the path grow bigger, it won't be very visible. My calamansi tree is dropping fruits daily, but finally I found the time to pick the ripe fruits from the tree instead of picking them from the ground. We juiced most of them, and I also tried other ways to preserve them, like fermenting them. I also fermented kamias or bilimbi fruits from my late father's garden and preserved some jackfruit in sugar. I just love jackfruit for homemade sweet desserts. Recently, I only go out in the garden to pick fruits and or veggies, but once in a while, I trim and prune some plants and use the prunings to mulch the garden. In permaculture, they call it chop and drop. It's for moisture retention and soil building. As a mulch, to prevent water from drying up too quickly, that's why I only water about 2 times a week. As the mulch slowly decomposes, it adds nutrients to the soil. I also use the leaves of bananas as mulch. Usually, I only leave about 5 to 6 leaves per plant and chop and drop the rest. When I garden, I love to snack on ripe fruits that are accessible in my garden, just like these curry berries. The birds love them too, that's why there's always a nest up there so they can access the berries right away, I guess. Now that the pathway is done, I'm clearing this area for veggies that I plan to grow and move all the ginger along the pathway. I'll just pick a tiny piece to take indoors for my tea. Here's where I've regrown all the ginger. I'm chopping and dropping the insulin plants to mulch the ginger. And a lot of times, those cuttings regrow, and that's where I get new plants to give away to other interested gardeners. I'm moving the pot that I used to mark my in situ composting method, where I bury kitchen scraps for 2 to 3 months before growing things on top of it. You can plant right away as long as you bury the scraps really deep and add a thick topping of garden soil. Usually about 6 inches of soil works for me. These are purple sugar apples. They look pale now because they're still young, but as soon as they ripen, they turn to a beautiful purple color. Like I always say, I have a very tiny food forest. That's why I like to grow multiple trees in one hole, just like this. There is so much edible ferns during the rainy season. My neck already hurts, so I wasn't able to pick all the ripe calamansi. On the other hand, the guavas are still small, but I still get some every few days. Here is my dragon fruit that is growing on the side of my house. But then, it decided to fruit at the front to reach for the sunlight. Hopefully, these 2 blooms turn into 2 dragon fruits. Sometimes I have friends over to pick fruits from my trees. Most of the time, they not only get free fruits but also free plants. My neighbor, who's also a friend, took me home to show me the plants that I previously gave her. I have very limited compost, so I only top dress the ones that need it more. Most times, I use unfinished compost, and oftentimes, seeds grow voluntarily like the tamarinds. There's really no problem with that because I will be growing these tamarinds in small containers to use the leaves for cooking. I hope you enjoyed watching. Have a nice day.